Hi, I'm here at the Vonage office to discuss some of the exciting development in CPaaS and 5G. So why don't you come along? So, time to talk about communications platform as a service. And Vinod, why don't you start by talking a little bit about what CPaaS really is, and then we'll have a chat about where the industry is going today and of course mid and long term.
Very glad to do that. Thank you, Erik, and excited to be here as part of the Ericsson family. So CPaaS is a cloud platform that exposes communications functions like SMS, voice, video, IP chat, via programmable APIs to developers so that they can code these functions into their applications, into their workflows, and into their systems. The net benefit of it being that now these applications can self-initiate communications along those lines or enable that.
And that could extend to any basic voice, video service, but of course much, much more. We'll come back to that in a moment there. Yes. So why don't we start on the CPaaS market? It's a fantastic market today, but what's your take on the market?
Yeah, I think it's a remarkable market and has sustained a lot of growth. When we entered the market back in 2015 via our acquisition of Nexmo, it was sized at around 1 billion. And today the market's already exceeding 8 billion, and analysts have it forecasted to go to 22 billion in the next 4 to 5 years. So clearly remarkable growth. And if you were to say, what's the key impetus for that? I think the biggest driver has been business to customer engagement through mobile apps. As customers have increasingly used their mobile phone and live in their mobile phone, so businesses have reacted by communicating with them that way, via SMS, chat, or now even video and voice, but all on the mobile phone.
Yeah, so it is a market very clearly growing. It's a lot of capabilities that are serving this market today. Can you say something about the future? What's your expectations for the coming years when it comes to the CPaaS market?
Well, I share the general sentiment that it's going to grow sharply. Analysts have it projected to grow three times over the next 4 to 5 years, and I can see why. Not only do you have existing trends, which I just mentioned, coupled with increasing penetration of digital natives as a big business model. So companies like Airbnb and Uber that are born in the cloud and they transact all their business basically through SMS, text, and the like, that business model is growing, and so that's continuing to fuel CPaaS growth. And then alongside that, you have many new use cases that are being born, alongside new APIs that are coming out, like video, which was more recent. And so when you couple that together, and then you add new technology evolution, especially 5G, AI, and MEC, that even further catalyzes growth. And a good example of AI is, a few years ago you had simple one-way notifications. Today you have two-way SMS that's conversational and enhanced by AI that can actually consummate a transaction through a mobile payment. So what an evolution versus what it was a few years ago, and I think that's going to continue.
And that's already here today, as you said. Can you share something about how the digital natives, or rather the non-digital natives, the industries that are not at the forefront of digital, how are they adopting CPaaS? And is that an opportunity as well?
Yeah, that's a great opportunity. And unlike the digital natives, which are fast forward, for those other companies, it's imperative for us and the market to create use cases to simplify their adoption. But many ways they use it, the primary way they use it is to engage with their customer. And they engage their customer multimodal. So not just SMS, but voice or chat. And that flexibility is what CPaaS allows. It allows the apps developers to give that flexibility so that customers can engage with them in a variety of ways. And then you see it picking off in video, where unlike a prepackaged SaaS solution, if you want to have a contained video solution with metadata, security controls and the like, that's not available off the shelf. Your developers have to make that, or your IT teams have to make that. And that's where we come in. We provide the tools for IT developers within the enterprise to do those things, to craft a video solution with the right constraints that the enterprise requires.
But that maybe is a good segue over to the network. Video is, of course, one of the services that we've worked on or had to use for the last couple of years, basically all around. Pandemic has taught us how to be present in video space. But that also requires quality. That also requires capabilities that the network can provide. So if we think then about the capabilities that a 5G network have, or 4G for that matter, but certainly 5G and beyond, then that comes very handy, because there we have already implemented capabilities for quality of service, network slicing under an SLA. We have implemented advanced security features, device status information, precise positioning and other capabilities. And they've been there for quite a while, but they haven't really been readily available to developers through an at-scale platform, and certainly not a platform that reaches developers on a global scale, like the Vonage more than 1 million developers. So I think that's really an opportunity then to look at what 5G already brings and how that can fuel or enhance capabilities in all the existing applications and the existing enterprises. So any more thoughts on that? What is really needed from a developer point of view and from an enterprise point of view?
Yeah, so I think that the ability to unlock, have network controls offers a whole new dimension of developers that have not yet been available to them. And that can make, quite significantly sophisticate their applications and create new use cases that are not feasible to do today just because of those network constraints. And a good example of that would be in gaming, for example, something as simple as gaming or in telemedicine, where you can't have certain types of video exchanges just because of latency. I mean, a doctor is not going to perform a medical procedure via video link if there's latency or if there's jitter. That all can be avoided through these network controls, and therefore that opens up a whole new dimension of use case.
I think it's an exciting journey. I think this is also something that has been long in the making. In fact, many of these capabilities, they were built, some cases standardized, certainly implemented in most networks, because these use cases, these applications were foreseen already some time ago. But what has really been missing is this gearbox to make it available to developers and applications, but also making it available more on a global scale. Because of course, these developers, they would like applications to work, if not ubiquitously, at least in key markets early on. And I think that's one of the things that we think we can add from an industry perspective, certainly from a 5G industry perspective, but also from an operator perspective. And maybe that's the reason why we see so much interest, strong interest from leading operators, CSPs around the world, to engage in more of this global development of network APIs and connecting them to platforms. It may be open APIs connected to multiple platforms, but in either way, it's really something that they are looking for, getting the scale and reach for capabilities that they've already implemented to a large extent.
Yes, this is win-win for operators because it allows operators some way to monetize or extract value for the added network functionality that they reveal to developers. And the challenge would be, without a CPaaS platform, it's all regionalized. What CPaaS allows you to do is have an abstracted layer globally available that developers can tap into and then moderate their network usage independent of the operator. But the operator then benefits for whatever usage comes in its territory that it gets to monetize. So it's win-win, creates new use cases that the operators can benefit through.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, I think this is also a great discussion point when it comes to what is really available in the network. I mentioned that many things are already available in 5G networks, but there's also a constant innovation. We talk about 5G as perhaps the biggest innovation platform there is, and that means that we will continue to invest in new capabilities. 5G today, we will have 5G advanced in, let's say, 3 to 4 years, and then 6G maybe another year later or a few years later when we get closer to 2030. But that is, of course, higher performance, lower latency, the MEC, but it's also new capabilities that would then be guided by the needs and the requirements, both from the enterprises as well as these developer communities building for the consumer market. So I think that the opportunity really now to close the gap between the needs coming from the applications, the enterprise and the consumers, and the capabilities in the network is really here. Yes. This is really the way to bring them together.
Yeah, I share that excitement, and that's why this combination makes a lot of sense. We're providing the raw developer ecosystem as well as the APIs through which they program, and then you add that network sophistication, you can do a lot of interesting things together.
Yeah, we're certainly just at the beginning of that journey. I think it also, from my point of view, it's great to be able to come together and work together, but it's also so that many of the capabilities that are already available in the Vonage platform, they are very helpful when it comes to the network products and the network business that is our core business. That's where we can start to make SLA-based enterprise services through network slicing available to the enterprises. So there are many very near-term opportunities really to ease the use of networks, whether it's private networks or it's the public networks. So it's actually here and now, as well as a multi-step journey over the coming years.
Absolutely. I mean, if 3 easy examples where you can see that is video, as I mentioned. We sell a video product, but there's needs to enhance the video and ensure it hits an SLA. Enter the network controls that 5G enables. And what about quality of service in general for any feed that we do, even if it's voice? If we can have APIs that manage that QoS, it's a competitive source of meaningful differentiation. And then 2FA has been a very tried space for CPaaS, where you have two-factor authentication. But if you can start utilizing network data points, you might be able to do it on a silent basis. Absolutely. And so that silent authentication would be significant.
I think those are great examples. And you again touched on quality of service, which is kind of the obvious need now for enterprises, but also consumers. So I think that's clearly one of the areas where we want to make sure we progress early on. Great chatting to you, Vinod, and exciting future, but also very exciting here and now. I really see that there is a need out there, and I think we are very ready to fulfill that. So thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
So I hope you enjoyed this short chat, Vinod and myself. It's really excitement on our side when it comes to connecting the CPaaS market with the network capabilities and the network APIs. And this was just a little bit of a glimpse into what's happening here and now, and of course, in a number of years to come. So thanks a lot, Vinod.
Thank you. Excited about the future.